All right, bullying manager. Dear Bill, about a month ago, a lady Dairy Queen manager in Missouri was charged for involuntary manslaughter. What? She gave the guy an ice cream headache? That's what she did? Keep eating ice cream, then I'll blow you. The guy fell for it. He stuck his head under the fucking smoothie machine. The soft serve there. All right, allegedly, the Dairy Queen manager was a dick to one of its employees. Filled with name-calling and belittling day after day. Isn't it great to see women getting, like, positions of power and just acting exactly as fucking ridiculous as men? You know, most people cannot handle a position of power. I mean, look at me. Look at the power I have with this podcast. I don't have the decency to put on pants. I'm in pajamas and slippers. I am part of the problem. One incident, reportedly, the manager threw a burger on the floor after he made it incorrectly and then made the 17-year-old clean it up. The kid was also a victim of bullying at school as well. None of this is going to justify this kid harming this boss. You quit the job. But voiced most of the bullying. But voiced? Most? That doesn't make sense. But most of the bullying happened at work. What happened to this person who wrote this sentence? They wrote, but voiced most of the bullying happening at work and singling out his boss. Okay, well, eventually the kid ended up shooting himself in the head. Oh, boy, did not see that coming. Yes, I know it's a sad story that happens too often. Does it? Do a lot of people get bullied at Dairy Queen and then blow their brains out? I thought that was a happy place. They got soft serve ice cream. What could go wrong? But the town wanted to hold somebody responsible for his suicide. The authorities, air quote, investigated and interviewed people, and his stories of being teased and made fun of were retold. The cops ultimately came to the conclusion that his Dairy Queen boss was the reason the kid is dead. Oh, my Jesus Christ. Wait a minute. Hey, it's a little bit of an overreach. And she was charged with secondary involuntary manslaughter. After me hearing this story, is that proper English? Should it be after I heard this story? After hearing this story, I'm waiting for somebody on TV to state the obvious. This is bullshit. How can you blame someone for another person killing themselves? It's not my fault how other people handle my insults. You've been called Billy Fat Tits how many times? Well, first of all, I'm not 17. All right? I think enough bullying can drive somebody to it. It depends on how it is and how fragile somebody is, but there's just so many fucking variables involved. Like the person, let's say this person was a bully at Dairy Queen. Like, what happened to them as a kid that made them the way they are? How old is this person? Because for me, I just feel that I honestly believe that, people in their 20s, for the most part, that is the most purest form of the direct results of the parents that you had. Is now you're out in the world, they're not there to be like, hey, knock it off, and you have to make decisions for yourself. And you go around like, I know when I was in my 20s, I took, without realizing it, I was taking everybody takes their childhood out on people in their 20s because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So hopefully you had a good one. So you taking it out on people is you're actually a nice person. Like Pete Holmes' character on Crashing. By the way, I fucking love that show. T.J. Miller, Artie Lang, and I believe the guy's name's George Basil. I watched the first 3 fucking episodes, and they were killing me, and their interaction with Pete's character is great. And I can't wait. I love Pete Holmes. I cannot wait to break his balls about his character on that show, though. I'm really going to break his balls. Like, Pete, is that how you see yourself? I'm just a nice guy who tries to do nice things. It's like, Pete, you're a fucking lunatic just like the rest of us. Anyways, I can't wait. One of my favorite things in this business is teasing him because he can fucking take it. But you got to check out Crashing. Judd Apatow, Pete Holmes. Joey Joe DeRosa wrote on the show, too. Mike Birbiglia, I believe, wrote on the show. There's a bunch of people, comics and everything, and comics on it. I saw Greer Bonds, Doug Davidoff, all these comics, Marina Franklin. It's fucking, it's such an amazing show because I remember when he came to New York as that wide-eyed kid, and I had actually worked with him at this comedy club in Peoria, Illinois that doesn't exist anymore. I worked with him at Brewster's when he was still married, I believe. Maybe he had just gotten divorced. I can't fucking remember. I've told this story before. And we went to go see The Ring, and we were the only two people in the movie theater. And I hate that that is the detail because that sounds fake. It's the only time it's ever happened. We walked in. It was a shitty movie theater. We were two comedians. It was the middle of the fucking, it was like 2 in the afternoon, and we saw The Ring on like a Thursday afternoon in a shitty movie theater. And I swear to God, we were the only two fucking people there. That movie stayed with me. Certain ones. Blair Witch stayed with me. That one stayed with me. Some of them they just fucking creep me out, and they stay with me. For whatever reason, Jordan Peele's movie, when that guy comes running, when the kid's smoking the cigarette, and then the guy comes fucking just running up full speed at him, that fucked with me. That's, for whatever reason, that fucking stayed with me. Anyways. There's like shit I think about when I go to my car at night. Even though I know it's not real, I just think about, what if that fucking dude just came running just like that at the last second, made a right turn in front of me? Anyways, how the fuck did I get onto all of that shit? Talking about this poor kid who killed himself. Anyways, he said they're throwing, okay, what does he say? You've been called Billy Fat Tits how many times? And by how many people? If you kill yourself, over half of your listeners will go to jail. How is this a law? How many times can you call somebody fat before it's against the law? And can we stop saying bullying? It's just being teased and made fun of. That's not true, man. That's not true. That's not true. It depends on the level, and it depends on the intent. And all of this shit will be really hard to prove. But, like, you know, what it is, sir, is you have to have empathy here. And what I'm guessing is that you are more the person teasing than getting teased. And maybe you were a little bit more of a stronger person, the same way somebody else might have just been better at math than you. I know, looking back, you know, in my high school, I know that there was, there was kids that got it really fucking bad, really bad. And, one of whom, killed himself a few years later. And I remember thinking back, I don't know what it was based on, but certainly did not have a good experience in high school the last couple of years. And it's one of those things because kids are kids and they don't understand it. It's a really complex thing. But I would say if this kid was also bullied at school, and then if this person was a cunt at a Dairy Queen, I mean, it's sort of an amalgam of all of that. And then also the personality. Some people, they're born, they're just really sensitive, shy people. And they don't know how to handle it. And if you're prone to depression and shit, I imagine that, that's sort of the perfect storm. So, anyways, he goes, they throw this bullying word around like it's an epidemic sweeping all these heartless millennials. We've all been made fun of before. We've all been called names ever since we were little kids. You sound like an older person like me, and you're just doing these kids today, these millennials, and oh my God, they're fragile little flowers, and they're not all like that, dude. You think there's still not the mean kid? You still don't think there's the big guy just fucking beating on? There's always going to be the bigger kid beating on the younger kids, the smaller kids or whatever. We need to let this continue. It builds character. If you were always given a trophy, you're all over the map here, dude, and only told compliments, you wouldn't be a comedian. No, now you're speaking for me. You would still be working in the carpeted area discussing, which I never worked there, your favorite route to work in the morning. All I'm saying is that we're all becoming weak pussies because of laws like this, and nobody's addressing it. But you can, Bill, with your soon-to-be Emmy-winning podcast. You can champion this cause for all our sake or whatever. Hope to see you in Portland soon. Thanks. I have to be honest with you, sir. All right, I think the true sign of maturity, aside from, on one side, being able to take a good ribbing and learning how to have more of a sense of humor about yourself, and also learning that whatever is happening today is not the end of the fucking world, and that, you know, there's probably kids listening right now that get bullied. This is the thing. All of that shit, you're not going to see any of those fucking people ever again after high school. And your whole fucking life is going to be determined by you and the decisions you make. And you have 100% control over that. So, you know, and I think a lot of times people get bullied, aside from the fact that they're just smaller, weaker, they just seem like targets. I think, you know, sometimes when people see somebody that's talented, they'll go after them. And so you got to make sure that you kind of push all that shit away. But the other side, I think that really shows that you're mature is empathy. You know what I mean? It certainly helps. Like, I mean, I think it's easy to do that. The rant that you did, I understand there's a lot of truth in some of the shit that you're saying. But, you know, it's not all just like, learn how to fucking take it, you fucking pussy. Stop wearing a helmet when you ride bicycles and shit. And I'm guilty of saying stuff like that. I understand where you're coming from, but like, you know. So why do you think this kid killed himself? You know what I mean? Do you think if that shit wasn't happening, the kid still would have? I mean, it's a possibility. I don't know if the kid had clinical depression. I have no idea. But I agree with you to try, from what you've written, for the sentences where it was spelt correctly, it seems like that kid was just having a miserable experience. I mean, I can't imagine if you were getting bullied all day at school and then you go, okay, well, now I'm going to get a job. This might be a ray of light to what the future is going to be, where I'll be at work and maybe people are nicer, and then it just becomes somebody else screaming at you. You know, when you're 17 years old, if it sucks at school and it sucks at the Dairy Queen you work at, that is your world. And you don't have an ability to step out of it, and you can downward spiral. Like, once again, I don't think that they should put it all on this person, but that's it's a fucking terrible story. But I don't think this backlash to political correctness to then go the other all the way back once again to what caused political correctness. All you fucking guys, hey, pull your bootstraps up and stop being a fucking pussy, you fucking millennial flower. It's guys like you that are fucking ranting against fucking political correctness. It's cunts like you that created political correctness. You know? White guys that tell it like it is. Is there anything worse than the white guy? I know I always say that. That is, to me, that is the most boring fucking mindset you could possibly have. Hey, I'm a white guy. Everything's set up for me. Let me tell you who, you know, does not have the advantages that I have, why you need to toughen up. You know, as I slept in my bunk bed in my cul-de-sac, those were the years that I really became a tough guy. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's just a terrible story. I hope that, you know, something good can come out of it, because that's, you know, it's very rare that, you know, you bring up an ice cream store and something like that happens. I was all excited, you know. I love fucking Dairy Queen, you know.